Hi, welcome to today's video diary for Finding My Way with Pi, Purpose, Intention, and Emotion. I am Pi, and today I want to think through what reconciliation feels like. So a couple of days ago, a couple of video diaries ago, I did a video diary on hurt and what it feels like when hurt can happen in a close relationship that you have. And then, for me, just trying to figure out how to navigate through that situation while loving and respecting myself as well as the other person involved. Now, I want to talk about what reconciliation feels like and at least examine a little bit about my own actions and the actions of the other person that make it happen and make it happen in a healthy way. So first, let's start with the definition of reconciliation. One of the things that I find delightful about these video diaries and curiously examining my emotions and situations and thoughts around situations that are happening in my life is that I am getting an opportunity to learn and to have some more well-rounded thoughts around meaningful things. And one of those meaningful things is relationships. Relationships are such a key part to our well-being as humans. We need them for our well-being, and how we treat our relationships, how we show up in relationships, how we're friends, partners, how we contribute, it makes a difference. I think another relationship that is key to highlight here is the relationship that you have with yourself. It really is, the relationship that you have with yourself does directly reflect out onto the other relationships that you have. I say this just simply out of my own experience that when I was, struggling with a lot of negative thoughts about myself and negative self-talk and beliefs and stories and thoughts that weren't true, that were very limiting, that were demeaning, I found that I had a harder time cultivating things like compassion in relationships, and it was harder for me to forgive. It also was more difficult for me to listen, to learn, and understand, to truly see and know the other person. So it's all interconnected, and a good relationship with yourself just gives you the best opportunity to have good, healthy relationships outward with others. Okay, so what does reconciliation mean? What is the definition of it? So I looked up the definition of it, and in the sense that we're talking about here, reconciliation, when there's been a little bit of a rift in a relationship, first of all, it takes two. It takes both sides for successful reconciliation. Reconciliation is essentially the restoration of friendly relations or restoring harmony. And remember, harmony is just an alignment. And in this case, it would be like an alignment of yourself and the other person. Now, note that alignment does not mean agreement exactly. You can still have your own emotions, your own perspectives, and they may differ. It's simply an alignment in how you're choosing to move forward with each other through whatever situation it may be. Reconciliation is like the action of making one view or belief compatible with another. So back to that alignment piece of it. And then there's another piece of reconciliation that I want to call out. And this is, again, back to the relationship with yourself, but that reconciliation means that you come to accept. So for me, it's accepting my own emotions about a situation, being honest with myself about why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, and sharing that openly with the other person, and giving them listening to them, giving them that gift of listening to them. If I expect them to listen to me, I need to listen to them, and I need to listen to learn. And then in my experience, and particularly this situation, which I'm not going to tell the story of just out of confidentiality, but just know that when hurt happens in a relationships, oftentimes we want like an apology as an acknowledgement of that hurt that was done. And it's like we expect an apology in order to forgive. I think the first person to step forward to apologize if they've realized that hurt happened, whether usually I think it's unintended. I'm just going to say that. Usually it may be unintended. And if they realize that hurt happened, I think it's very brave of the first person to step forward to apologize. And I want to be clear about what a good apology is for me. It's not, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not it. An apology needs to own your own actions. I'm sorry that I behaved in a way that caused you hurt. I didn't intend you hurt, but I do see it now. I hear you and I understand it, and I am sorry for how I hurt you. And it goes both ways. So, hurt doesn't happen alone. Reconciliation doesn't happen alone. It takes both parties to come to the table to do this. So for me, what does it feel like when, after there's been some turmoil and some hurt and some like not seeing eye to eye and little microaggressions? I talked about that in the previous video diary. You can visit it. It's called Hurt if you want to see what I mean by microaggressions. But as those add up, then you need the opportunity to be able to heal them. You need the opportunity to be able to heal that. And to be able to speak to them and listen and learn, because you learn about the other person and who they are and what's meaningful to them. You also learn together how to better discuss things. You learn like, okay, this may be a trigger point for one of us. And so what might we be able to do in this situation should it happen again? Are you guaranteed to remember it? To do the thing you agreed on? Like, hey, stop and say this. Maybe not, but awareness is the first step, literally the first step. And if you've got that awareness between the two of you, you have a better chance of remembering it versus if you never talked about it at all, right? So a better chance is better than no chance. And it gives you common language. So if you do happen to remember it and you say, hey, remember we talked about that one thing? This is it. So here's my little intervention here. And I don't want this to go down a hurtful path. This is just what's happening in my heart and my mind. And I need a minute. You both then have that reference point. Oh, I see. You're not coming from a place to hurt me, and this is a you need time thing, and I can respect that. So that, just by way of example, what does it feel like when reconciliation happens? For me personally, what it feels like is I feel loved. I feel seen and heard and understood and cared for and known. And I hope in turn the other person feels the same way, but there is an intimacy and a closeness and a connection that comes from both parties being courageous enough to be vulnerable, that they open their hearts a little bit and share. It's not easy to do. Sometimes when you share the innermost feelings that you're having or what's going on, like, I've been worried before, like, I sound like I'm crazy. I feel like maybe I sound like I'm a little crazy, or this is going to sound really stupid or whatever. The thing is, when you say it and you're not accusing or attacking, you're just owning it. I had this thought, and this is the feeling that I had, and saying it out loud, it sounds ridiculous to me, but it's there, and I do have this emotion, and so this is what I'm grappling with. It takes the intensity and the power that has over you, it lessens it when you say it out loud and it's no longer hidden. It also allows the other person to understand. And then it becomes this positive reinforcing loop of communication and goodwill towards each other when you know you're both good people, and this is what healing and reconciling feels like when you do it together, and it results in a deeper closeness. So listen, is there any such thing as a relationship that never, ever, ever has any bumps? Nope. Not in my experience. Every single relationship will have a bump or a misunderstanding or something that like puts the brakes on, like, and you're like questioning, wait a minute, did I misunderstand that? What did they mean by this? And it happens. It's how we work through it and the effort we put into it and the care and the thought that matters. So thanks for being with me on this journey. I'm so glad that you're here. I hope it helps you too. I'll see you tomorrow.